is an intensely unpleasant emotion in response to perceiving or recognizing a danger or threat. Fear causes physiological changes that may produce behavioral reactions such as mounting an aggressive response or fleeing the threat. Fear in human beings may occur in response to a certain stimulus occurring in the present, or in anticipation or expectation of a future threat perceived as a risk to oneself. Fear is a primal emotion that involves a universal biochemical response and a high individual emotional response. Fear alerts us to the presence of danger or the threat of harm, whether that danger is physical or psychological. Sometimes fear stems from real threats, but it can also originate from imagined dangers. While fear is a natural response to some situations, it can also lead to distress and disruption when extreme or out of proportion to the actual threat. People who have philophobia have a fear of love. This fear is so intense that they find it difficult, sometimes impossible, to form and maintain loving relationships. Philos is the Greek word for loving or beloved. Phobos, phobia, is the Greek word for fear. Falling in love can be exciting and thrilling, but for many people, it's also scary. After all, trusting someone with your heart is no simple task. What if it gets broken? If you're scared of falling in love, it may even stem from deeper fears of vulnerability, getting hurt, abandonment, or failure. In extreme cases, this fear can show up as philophobia, which involves immense anxiety and significant mental or physical distress, like chest pains, difficulty breathing, nausea, and panic, in relation to thoughts of falling in love and maintaining it. These overwhelming, and sometimes debilitating, symptoms are far from the usual brief and fleeting moments of apprehension following romantic what-if scenarios. A new relationship is an uncharted territory, and most of us have natural fears of the unknown. Letting ourselves fall in love means taking a real risk. We are placing a great amount of trust in another person, allowing them to affect us, which makes us feel exposed and vulnerable. Our core defenses are challenged. Any habits we've long had that allow us to feel self-focused or self-contained start to fall by the wayside. We tend to believe that the more we care, the more we can get hurt. So many people are scared of relationships because they have a fear of love. What lives inside of this urge is the subconscious awareness that to love means to open yourself to the possibility of getting hurt by losing the one you love or being rejected by them. If you pull back from the relationship, you limit the intimacy and, consequently, hedge your bets against the risk. The fear of rejection, the fear of intimacy, the fear of commitment, and the fear of loss of independence. To overcome these fears, it's essential to recognize their existence and communicate them with your partner. The phrase, "fear is stronger than love," suggests that fear has a greater ability to influence people's actions and decisions than love does. It implies that fear can be a more powerful motivator, leading people to act in certain ways or make certain choices out of fear of consequences, rather than out of love or affection. However, it's important to note that the relative strength of fear and love can vary greatly depending on the individual and the specific situation. It can be difficult to distinguish between love and fear in a relationship, as both can elicit strong emotions. In fact, at times, fear is stronger than love. Love is characterized by feelings of warmth, connection, and trust, while fear-based relationships are often marked by insecurity, control, and a lack of trust. Signs that fear is driving the relationship include walking on eggshells, feeling controlled or manipulated, and a constant sense of anxiety. On the other hand, a loving relationship will feel safe and secure, with open communication and mutual respect. To not act on our fears is to recognize that we have them. The fear of intimacy isn't a problem without a solution, but finding a solution means identifying that there is a problem. Having this problem may seem hard to relate to at first, since most of us claim that we want love in our lives. Many of us feel cheated or victimized by circumstance while failing to see that our biggest obstacle is how we get in our own way. Whether it's a worry of stirring up past hurt or a recreation of our childhood that's at play, it will benefit us to gain a deeper understanding of our less conscious motivations that damage our closest relationships. It's impossible to think clearly when you're flooded with fear or anxiety. The first thing to do is take time out so you can physically calm down. If you start to get a faster heartbeat or sweating palms, the best thing is not to fight it. Stay where you are and simply feel the panic without trying to distract yourself. Place the palm of your hand on your stomach and breathe slowly and deeply. Life is full of stresses, yet many of us feel that our lives must be perfect. Bad days and setbacks will always happen, and it's important to remember that life is messy. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine a place of safety and calm. It could be a picture of you walking on a beautiful beach, or snuggled up in bed with the cat next to you, or a happy memory from childhood. Let the positive feelings soothe you until you feel more relaxed. Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing it. That is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. You can conquer almost any fear if you will only make up your mind to do so. For remember, fear doesn't exist anywhere except in the mind. The things you fear are undefeatable, not by their nature, but by your approach. We are afraid to care too much, for fear that the other person does not care at all. Those who love to be feared fear to be loved, and they themselves are more afraid than anyone, for whereas other men fear only them, they fear everyone.